All right, I am going to share my screen with you, and what I'm going to do is show you what it's going to look like when you log in as an editor. Okay, you're going to use the same login that you have now. Okay, whether you're shopping or editing, you're going to use that same login into our system. But your view, like I said, is going to be a little bit different now that you are stepping up to become a validator. So, all right, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so what we use, and you may recognize this kind of basic format from if you have logged in already, what we use are shared mailboxes. So this is a shared mailbox that says Elite Step 2. Don't worry about what they're named for now. It's not a problem. This is one that says Elite Validation. And this one, Tier 1 Editing General. This one can be, this one is the one you're going to mainly look at. And this one could, right now, it looks very sparse. This one could have hundreds of edits in it at some point. It could have one or two. So we just want you to get kind of familiar with what is here. It looks like today was a busy day for our editors and things were taken, which is awesome. As in reference to that, you will see this option here says move to my inbox. When you are ready to do an edit and you come in and you look and you say, oh yeah, I know what this one is. That's mainline brands. And I know how to do this one. Boom, I'm going to come here and move that to my inbox. That's all great. But what I would like you to do is one at a time, please. Don't come in and take 10 edits. Take one at a time. Take one, get it completed. If you have questions about something, reach out. If it's at 2 in the morning and you have questions because something truly unusual happened with that shop, then take another one if you want and send an email. If it's the same kind of thing where you're going to have, it's truly because you're not sure about something and you're going to run into that same question on each edit that you open, then please stop and don't continue taking more and more edits and have them in your box. So one at a time, try to get it done before you go to sleep, before you have to take the dog for an hour-long walk, before you go to bed at night, go to the bathroom, whatever. Try to get that edit done. If you are not finished with an edit, save it. If you have to get up and go get a drink of water or something, just save. I will show you how to do that safely. But we talked about the information on each individual shop. If you see here, it says info and there's a little I in that black circle. If we click on this, it's going to give you an overview of what that shop is. Okay, so your shop will begin with a recorded call. Photos are required. This is just a brief overview. We talked about those client objectives documents. If you look here, you will see if I click here where it says here, you are going to open up a PDF document. This PDF document is the template I mentioned. It will show you in great detail. All right, again, every one that you open is going to have this kind of format. Before your visit, during your visit, after your visit. We're trying to tell them what it is they need to be looking for. So everyone that you open is going to have the same format, but the details within are going to change. Okay, they're always going to be tooled for the client and what that project is for. Okay, again, if you've read it and you're familiar with it, great. But keep in mind that, let's say you're editing a lunch shop for a restaurant client and you do it, and now you go back and you see a dinner shop for that same client. Well, let's open the objectives again, because for a dinner client, there may be completely different requirements. There could be specific ordering requirements. They could ask you to go to the bar They could ask you to use the valet, things that you will not necessarily find at a lunch shop. So please make sure that you are understanding that these are going to be very specific to that shop that you are doing. So we ask that you do really read these through, get familiar with them, be comfortable with them. And if you have questions, you always ask, okay? My information you're going to have over and over again, but my information is pretty easy to find. You will also have a phone number for me. So if you need me, you let me know and we'll take care of whatever it is that we can help you with. All right, so I showed you kind of what you do when you get to this. I showed you that if you take this and move this to your inbox, what that does is it removes it from all the other editors to be able to see that assignment. Again, that's why we don't want you taking 10 of them. But what happens too is if you do not move an edit to your inbox and you start editing it, another editor very well could come in and move it to their inbox while you're editing it. And everything you've done, guess what? It's not going to matter because it didn't go to your inbox. If it doesn't go to your inbox, it's not going to show up in payroll. Okay, so if nothing else, remember it for that reason. You move it to your inbox to get paid. Don't move it to your inbox. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, we may be able to track back that you were in there, but if it was never in your inbox, it's not going to show you as the editor of record on that job. So to get into, we're going to go ahead and look at it here. As opposed to moving it to a box, because I just want to show you what we're looking at when we look at those reports. You're familiar because you did a couple in demo, but I want to show you a couple of different things about this. So you're familiar because you've seen reports before. And the format, again, is going to kind of look the same. This one is really old because there's a problem with this edit. Okay, so this is kind of in there because there's issues we need to deal with on this one. But I still want to give you an idea of what we're looking for on the edits and what this, again, with this format. And this has something different that your previous edits didn't have. So we're always looking for date and time of the shop. We're always looking for everything to be filled out. Anywhere where there's a comment to be made. When there's a comment box like this, we want a healthy amount of comments. This is a good level of detail. That's great. 1 or 2 sentences, I'm not going to be very impressed and may not come to you. This I hate. If I see a shopper write this, I'm not happy. What's worse, however, is if I see this in QC. If I see that this has come from an editor and this has been passed on, this is not good. Okay, this is kind of like saying, hey, Mr. Client, just go read something else. That's kind of rude. To me, this is very rude. We don't want to ever send that to a client. Okay, so we're going to put some information in that box. Maybe they added more detail here than they should have or could have, and we can move some of those comments down to this box. Okay, but never ever an already stated above, or as I said earlier, or anything like that. Not appropriate, not professional. Great level of detail in some of these, but look at this. We've got no punctuation. That's not really a sentence. We've got no punctuation. Look how often this is happening. We're going to look here for just a minute. See where this says upload a file. Okay, so it's asking you to put a picture in here. Did the graphics on the Mosquito Authority specialist's vehicle match the same sample graphics shown in the guidelines? Now, that client objectives document had some pictures, right? Now they know what they're supposed to be looking for. Well, they marked yes, but we don't have a picture. Why don't we have a picture? Okay, this doesn't tell us, but somewhere in the body of this report, it should tell us. Okay, so we come here. Did the mosquito authority specialist uniform match the uniform guidelines? They marked yes, but we don't have a picture. If we did, it would be right here. Okay, now comments about the first impressions. We got a few words. We don't have a sentence because we don't have punctuation. This shopper clearly does not believe in punctuation. As I said, punctuation not optional. This is a yard sign. There we go. We got a picture. We got a ding ding. We got this one matches. Yay. This is the door hanger. Yep, looks like a door hanger to me. Awesome. That's great. So then we asked them for a receipt. What did they charge you? Here's that receipt. With particularly not this client, because pretty much if they're uploading a receipt, it's going to be from this experience. But if it's from a dining location, if it's from a retail store, we want to make sure that this receipt matches the location that they were supposed to visit, the date they were supposed to visit, the amount they say they spend. We want to be looking at that and making sure. The initial validation phase will do that, but I don't want to be the editor that says, oh, well, I didn't check. I would check. I would give it a quick look, make sure that this matches. Again, for this client, not so much, because the chances of them, they're not going to have an experience with the wrong person, the wrong location, because these people come to their home. Everything needs to be noted. So in this case, rate the overall knowledge. They gave them a 5, but they gave us no comments. Again, a 5, but they gave us no comments. And down here, for what could have been done to improve your experience, we get one sort of semi-sentence, no punctuation. You know how I feel about that. If they had an unsuccessful attempt for an appointment, like the person didn't show up when they were supposed to, then you're going to put that in. They're going to put that information here. When we get to the very bottom of the report, you're seeing that there is something here. So this is a recorded call. A lot of shops that we do will have recorded calls. When they happen, they come right to the bottom of the report. We'll see the date and time that that call was made. And we can listen to that call. That's awesome. What we want to be doing is listening to that call to verify what we have in the report that says it took place on that pre-visit call. Now, kind of interesting because we've got a lot of NAs, a lot of no's, but we do have some things that happen. So I guess we had a call. So we're going to go down here and we're going to listen. But this is where verification, what the shopper checked versus what the shopper wrote versus what we are hearing for ourselves in that recorded call. If it doesn't match, we have the recording to prove what really happened. We need to pay attention to that. So louder for you.
Hello. Hi. Is this the place that does the mosquito treatment?
So right off, you can see how long that call is. Okay. If you come down here and you were to see 3 or 4 call attempts, they're all going to look like this. The last one is going to be at the bottom. The last one is probably the one where they actually had success reaching somebody. You may get voicemails, you may get hangups, you may get the phone just rings forever and ever. So if you see multiple calls at the bottom of your survey, go to the last one, listen to that one first. It's probably the correct one. And then, like I said, now that we're opening it and we're playing it, I'm going to go back up to the top of the report where the call section is, and I'm going to look at that with this so that I can be checking those answers.
Yeah, yeah. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you guys service Stillwater by any chance, or is it just the Guthrie area?
We do Stillwater. This, for some reason, when we did our website and everything, they did Guthrie, which is, we have a whole area we do around Guthrie. It's just, I don't know, they just put it as Guthrie.
Okay. Well, I was going to
Yeah,
see if
it's
I could
confusing.
an appointment then.
Yeah, let me log into my program real quick. And what is your name?
Micah Smith.
Monica Smith.
No, it's Micah. And then my last name is just Smith.
Say that Micha. I'm sorry, spell it one more time.
Okay, M is in Mary. Sorry, let me take you off speakerphone. Maybe that'll help.
I think that's what it is.
Okay, sorry. It's M is in Mary.
Uh-huh.
I is in Igloo. C is in cat. A is in apple. And H is in horse.
Oh, you said Micah. Okay.
Yes.
Is that you say it, Micah? Okay.
Yes.
I heard Monica. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And then is this
And
your
then-
cell phone?
Yes.
Okay. And you are in Stillwater. What is your zip code?
74074.
Okay. And your address?
It's 4114 South Fairgrounds. And then, of course, Stillwater 7474.
Got it. And what is your email?
It is just my first name, and then my middle name is just Lynn, Lynn,
Okay.
29 at Gmail.
Okay. And how did you hear about us?
Just Google.
Just Google? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And were you just wanting mosquito service?
Yes, please.
Okay. And do you mind if we send text messages just to let you know
No,
when we're
not
coming
at all.
out and stuff?
Not at all.
Okay.
Let me give you my actual cell phone number. It's, I don't know if this is one that came up on the caller ID or not, but 405
Okay.
780
Okay.
1368.
So we don't really need to listen to the whole thing. I just kind of want to get an idea from you that you kind of understand that you're going to be looking at that. You're going to be listening. You're going to be looking at those questions and making sure things match. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? And then again, when you see multiple calls on that survey, go to that very last one. Chances are that is going to be the one that you want to be listening to. Okay. So that just gives you an idea of a different, there are going to be a lot of shops that we do that have recorded calls. So I want you to be familiar with them. There's also, like I said, now you've gotten to see into a different report and into a different experience. With certain shops, what we talked about, the missed pictures. Okay, in certain shops, that could be the end of the shop right there. But we'll determine that in initial validation. If it comes to you and something is noted, and I didn't mention that because there's a lot of notes in this one. As I said, it's problematic. So we won't worry about that so much. I just want you to know and know what to look for. But if you'll see right above the report, there's all kinds of notes. So what you're looking for is this kind of note. Initial validation complete, a required element of the shop was missed, photos of uniform and photo of truck. Shop acceptance will be at the discretion of the client. QC editor, be sure this feedback is sent. And there we go. All right. So we have decided that we're going to, at this point, let the client decide if they want to accept this shop or not. So let's just say that you are editing this, that everything is fine and good, and you have 100% finished what you wanted to do with this edit. Please, please, please save it. Before you do anything else, save it. If, again, you have to be interrupted while you're doing an edit for whatever reason, please, please, please save your work, whatever you have done. You will cry the first time you go through and edit a really horribly written paragraph, and you've made so many changes to grammar and spelling and punctuation, and you don't save it. The system can time out sometimes, depending on your computer, depending on your software, whatever. I always advise using Google Chrome when you're in the system, but you can time out. It happens. It still happens to me that I'll be working on something, I get distracted, I didn't save it, and guess what? Now I have just lost all that time and effort, and I have to go back and do it again. So please, please, please hit save. It will not do anything. Make your comments in here, and this is something we haven't talked about. So as you see, initial validation made comments. Okay. What we want is for you to make comments. We want you to comment on what the shopper did. Did they write the report well? Did they follow the scenario properly? Did they do a good job? Okay, we want you to give us honesty. I had to correct 1 or 2 typos. No big deal, otherwise written really well. Wow, this was a mess. I had to make so many corrections. You know, no, for this one, I would say there's no punctuation. So many things about this report stand out. So we want to make sure that we are noting that. We have an opportunity to provide the shoppers feedback. You will not be sending that feedback. What you will be doing is providing the information that the QC editor needs in order to send that feedback. So if you say minor corrections needed, overall good report, the QC editor will come back and determine how to say that very nicely to the shopper. If, yeah, there were a few typos, they mismarked an answer or two, again, we're going to nicely present that. We don't want to be harsh. We don't want to be mean. We don't want to send a shopper away saying, wow, they're mean and I'm never going to shop for them again. Trust me, it happens. It happens. I've seen it many times. Some shoppers are they hold this work very precious. And if you tell them that they did a bad job, they will get their feelings hurt. They will go away and they will shop for one of the 200 other mystery shopping companies out there that they could shop for it. So we want to be nice. We want to be constructive in what we say. So give us some good and bad in those comments. Okay. If they did something wrong, tell us something they did right. If they did everything wrong, okay, I get it, but we'll figure it out. You are also going to see scoring here. So the scoring should be based on, the scoring for the communication and the submission timeliness should be completed when it gets to you. That should be a part of initial validation. Initial validation knows whether or not the report was submitted in a timely manner, if the communication or any follow-up needed with the shopper was handled properly and efficiently by the shopper returning. But you are going to be the expert on the report and the scenario grading. Okay, these are dropped down 1 to 10. Okay, let's be nice, but let's be fair. Okay, if they had 1 or 2 little corrections that needed to be made, they don't deserve a 7. Okay, if it was a train wreck and they had a lot of errors that they made, but they provided some good detail, well, they don't probably deserve a 4. Okay, so let's be fair. If they're providing good details, they just really need a spell check program, we're going to recommend them. We're going to recommend to them that they load Grammarly for their next reports, and we're going to tell them, hey, we had some spelling, you know, and some typos that we had to correct. That's okay, but we want to be nice. This 6 in communication, I'm a little concerned about that. Going to look into it and see why it has a 6 there. The 9 says to me for submission timeliness that they did not submit within 24 hours. If that's the case, yes, their grade would go down. Some people will lower this dramatically if it's been more than a day. I tend to try again to be, excuse me for just a second. Sorry, tickle in my throat because I'm talking way too much. And the report quality. So overall, was it a great report? Or was it a pretty stinky report? Or was it somewhere in between? But let's be nice and let's be fair as much as possible. Video and audio. Right now, any report that you see in the system that says that it is video or audio edit, please do not do. At this time, we need to go further over what is needed. And I don't want you getting into something that you're not familiar with yet. So if you would avoid, and I will show you, I'll take you in, show you another page where you'll see some other edits that right now you won't see on your own, but I'll show you what that looks like. And then we can